Everything is listening. The entire existence is listening, and it's listening to you. And it's listening not only to you, it is listening to everything. The existence itself is an observant listener. So when we match that energy, when we do that same thing, when we listen, and not listen as in sitting here, I'm listening, I got something in my head that I want to say. Listening as in when you're truly listening, and you've probably experienced this when you're truly listening to somebody. When you're truly listening, your mind kind of goes blank because you're trying to be receptive to that other person or that other thing. Or if you think about listening to a car or a sound that you don't really know what the sound is. It's something that your mind hasn't identified yet and you're trying to figure it out. That kind of listening, like, what is that? Like that listening. When you notice when you're doing that, there's nothing in your head. You're just receptive. You're taking in. You're really listening. And that type of listening is what the entire existence is doing. It's listening that intently, that deeply. So when we listen, that's why it's so profound, because we're kind of mimicking the entire existence. And listening can be one of the greatest gifts that you can give to anybody. It is a beautiful blessing to give your presence and an open ear. And not necessarily give advice or tell somebody what to do, but to just be there and to listen. And be there with a presence. Sometimes that's more powerful than words or any action could ever do. And it seems counterintuitive because you think, well, I'm not doing that much. I'm just sitting here. But it's so powerful to have a present person listening with their ears. With their beautiful ears. Granted, you can hear. Some people can't even have that. They don't even have that privilege. They've lost their hearing, or it's greatly diminished. And if you can even hear my words right now, that is an intense blessing, because it is one of the senses that you can pick up on. That is, you are grateful and abundant enough to pick up on something as simple as hearing. It is something that is taken for granted. And even though I sit here and I say these words, you are making up the meaning to all of them. I sit here and I speak and you hear it with your ears, but in the end, you are making up the meaning of what I am saying. That in itself is a beautiful thing, the psychological phenomena that even goes on when we are hearing and then interpreting And then usually what we end up doing is storing, is we store it inside. So we hear something, hear somebody say something, and then we make up the meaning to it, and then we store it inside. And sometimes people could say things that are not meant to be mean or hurtful or offensive, but we make the meaning up in our mind to be that way, to be negative towards us, and then we store it in our bodies and we hold it there. And a lot of the times this is unconsciously we doing this. We don't even know that this is happening. And then what happens is we get so tight in the shoulders, the neck, the whole body.